Well, it's mid-July. Things are getting overgrown. It's that time of year again. I pull out the old brush hog. Okay, so I'm all done with the brush hog for a little while. I'm probably going to use it down around the house here and down the driveway again sometime in August, maybe towards the end of August. And I'm going to keep it on the tractor because I'm going to have to bring it down to southern Ohio. And there's going to be a lot of brush hogging to do down there, especially clearing up all the trails. Of course, everything just gets overgrown down there, and it's pretty much just the same thing year after year. But now I need to do a little bit of trimming up in the tree areas. I'm going to start out with going low by just what I can reach from the ground. And then I'm going to use the tractor. I'm going to put the cage back on with the forks and give me about 6 feet of lift. I just looked up the purchase, and I purchased this Black & Decker extended pole saw. It reaches 10 feet, uses a 20-volt battery. It's battery operated, and I've had it now since 2015. The only thing I've ever done with it is just put oil on the chain. It doesn't self-boil itself, so you have to just take a little bottle and just squeeze out a little dab here and there on the chain periodically. But I've used it here in northern Ohio, I've used it down in southern Ohio, and I've used it quite a bit down in Tennessee, and I've gotten quite a bit of use out of it. Some of you might say I should be using a gas pole saw, but really most of the time when you're trimming these trees, the branches aren't more than 2 inches thick. Even a good sized branch is usually around 2 inches. And the electric seems to do just fine. Now a gas would probably cut through it much quicker. It would be a little bit noisier and maybe a little bit heavier too, especially when you're leaning over on this bucket. Now I mentioned before that I try to get from the ground what I can get from walking around the property, and then I sit in this bucket and it gives me another 6 feet. Plus if you include my 6 feet and the 10 feet reach, we're looking at somewhere around 20 feet comfortably. My goal is to do the whole perimeter of the property, particularly around the house itself. As I'm doing this though, I can see that I am going to have to rent something, some sort of lift that's going to get me up around 40 or 50 feet, just because I don't like all the branches that are leaning over the house itself, and also just encroaching on taking away a lot of our sunlight. Now if I do rent something, I'm looking at probably trying to do it on a weekend. If I could grab it on a Friday afternoon and have to return it sometime Sunday morning, that way I have the whole weekend to use it. So accessing everything that I could reach now will help me out later if I need to rent something. Well, we're about halfway done and I lost the cover plate that goes on to keep the chain from coming off, and that's what happened. The chain came off. I put it back on and I just feel that it's going to get jammed up really easy without that cover plate. If I can't find that little cover plate, then the chain is just going to keep popping off and things are going to get jammed in there a lot more frequently. So I'm not going to use it. I'm going to wait until I either find a cover plate or maybe I'll buy something different. In the meantime, I still have a mess to clean up. It is always nice to do one of those projects where you use the tractor, especially when you use a lot of the implements on the tractor. So we started out by dumping the tiller, putting on the brush hog, using the forks, getting rid of the forks, putting on the bucket, then using the brush hog, then putting on the basket by putting the forks back on, taking the forks off, and putting the brush crusher on. At this point, some of you may be wondering why I am backing to the bonfire pile. If I get a good amount of brush in the brush crusher and it's long and lengthy, there's a good chance that if I try to go forward with it, I'm going to run it over with the wheels and pull out a lot of the debris that's trapped in the brush crusher. So if I back up, I pretty much drag everything in front of me until I get to the pile, and then I can easily dump it. And there are some times when the brush crusher comes in handy where I really don't even cut debris down. I just go to the edge of the woods. We always have a lot of grapevines trying to encroach on our property. Reach up and just grab a grapple full and see how much I can get. I do not want to knock over my ladder. I had the ladder out. I was dusting off the solar panels up on the shed and also cleaning out that gutter. So I'm going to call it for a little while, and I think I'm just going to go out and buy something new. I'm debating between a gas pole saw or another electric one. I think I have an idea in mind, and I'll share that information with you when I make that decision. But that is going to do it for today. I appreciate everybody watching. Hope you enjoy and subscribe to these videos. Click on that little bell when you want to know when a new one is coming out, and keep an eye on us. Take care, everybody.